岁月、环境、规则 ，LPL 在不断改变。6年中，有许多人问我，你为什么还在坚持？这局游戏对你究竟意味着什么？
全军出击！
我见过最美的风景，也听过最热烈的欢呼。为了所有这些，我愿意付出一切。
这局游戏是一段旅途，有人中途停留，也有人会做到最后，而终点只不过是另一个起点。
50的血量，50的血量！
我不走那么多是非曲折，这局游戏赢就对了。
이번 게임의 낭만은 0부터 100처럼 무명에서부터 이름을 날리는 것이다.
我从来都没有后悔过自己走过的路。 这局游戏的魅力就在于创造奇迹。
많은 사람들이 전설을 보는 것에 열광하지만 다른 사람들이 그 뒤에서 흘리는 땀에 대해서는 잘 보지 못합니다. 하지만 이러한 땀이 없었다면 저희는 다시 이곳으로 돌아오지 못했을 겁니다.
欢迎来到英雄联盟。
会变的是人和环境，不变的是游戏最后的胜利画面。
我明白，这场游戏就是成王败寇。
但是不到最后，我不会放弃对王冠的追逐。
这局游戏需要牺牲，无私奉献，去成就团队的胜利。
他还需要领袖，不管遇到什么困难，都和同伴一起扛下去。
是我最喜欢的玩具。
LPL 需要年轻的力量，是时候让我们来接管比赛了。
想成为这场游戏的主角吗？打败我吧！我们的时代还远没有结束。
We hop over from Chongqing now to Chengdu, where OMG will be taking on RNG from their arena in Chengdu. We already saw the top of the table clash between Snake as well as Rogue Warriors. Now we get to watch a historic matchup between OMG as well as RNG. These two teams have faced off time and time again in the LPL. They're about to do so once more. That's not us. He'll come back to us shortly. I'm with Indiana Frost going back. We've kicked Clement off. He's useless here, so it's just going to be us two breaking down this game now.
I don't know. I really like being Rendong. I think he's just such a fashionable man. No, you're incredibly correct. It was the week of rivalries. We have some crazy history this week. LGD versus EDG, WE versus Invictus Gaming. We're going to kick it off with Starholm Royal Club. Now Royal Never Gives Up versus, oh my god, OMG. Now historically, going all the way back, there's a joke, which is Uzi is always the undoing of OMG. You have to think back to 2013, 2014, where it was the OMG versus Starhorn Royal semifinals before Uzi got promoted into the World Finals. OMG were always the higher seed of China attending, and then it would be Starhorn Royal Club that were always the third best team in China that would boop pop over OMG and then deliver Uzi into the finals. And then when Uzi joined OMG, they didn't even make playoffs. So continued to be a curse.
It has been a curse for OMG the entire time. Might continue to be so as he heads into their home arena in Chengdu. But to start the split, they both started kind of similar, picking up a couple of wins here and there, but poor form from both OMG as well as RNG. RNG have since bounced back. Although OMG picked up a win over LGD recently, they don't quite look like they're anywhere near the form that we expect from them.
Yeah, to be fair, OMG, they got into their home arena, the home arena curse came true, and they just got absolutely obliterated by FPX. They bounced back, they beat LG, nice little warm-up match, but now it's the true test. And what's interesting here is, we talk about the history. None of these players are old legacy players. Zatai is starting in the top lane. Of course, he was an Invictus Gaming legacy player. This is completely different chapters outside of Uzi for both of these organizations. And that's kind of what's interesting is it used to be so OMG favored during a domestic split, and now it is super heavy RNG favored. And we're excited because we're seeing this new iteration of RNG, but you're also seeing this new iteration of LPL talent. You know, the intro video talks about, you know, it's time for us to reign. It's time for this new era to take over. And it's not just talking about, you know, the iBoys and the Jackie Loves. It's talking about our two mid laners, Icon and Xiaohu. Now these guys are kind of considered, you know, LPL veterans. They've been in for a couple of splits, but they are really the next generation of, you know, Degrassi legacy LPL talent to now take over.
And they've been playing really well in that mid lane, but for OMG to try and beat RNG this matchup, they can't just rely on their mid laner Icon. They have to go through multiple steps to try and take down RNG.
There's going to be a lot of miracles. That said, I've seen Uzi make 2 World Finals when he went up against OMG, and the domestic record said that that was a miracle in itself, so it is possible. I've got 4 steps for you, Fish.
Okay.
Okay, step 1 for OMG to actually win this game, survive Uzi. It's Chelly and 5 down there, and Chelly, frankly, he's been rotated in and out of the roster. He doesn't have the most experience, brand new to the LPL, and he is literally facing the Godfather himself. Step 2, get mid priority. It's Icon versus Xiaohu. That's a hype matchup. These two guys like to kill each other. They always go forward. Icon known as the hitman, so Xiaohu should be on his list. Step 3, skirmish a bunch. You're never going to beat RNG in a 5v5. OMG don't have the coordination. The roster's too new. Again, heavily rotating doors. Skirmish away from Uzi. If Uzi's in a skirmish OMG, just back out of that one. Just be like, probably not worth it. We're probably not going to win this one. And then step 4, profit. There you go. That is how you do it.
OMG are going to try and profit off of RNG, but it seems a bit difficult because recently RNG's form has been fantastic. We watched their match against EDG. It was clean, calm, collected. It was almost clinical, and they seem to be adopting the 8.4 playstyle incredibly well. OMG, on the other hand, have not read the meta very well.
Yeah, and that's kind of like if you're tuning into the LPL, you're like, why are OMG so far down? What happened? Where is God going? It's Xiang at the top lane, so you still got, you know, some legacy talent there, but they just have had a terrible read on the meta. It was most recently the Icon went back to the Galio pick. They've been experimenting with their jungler. It seems to go better for them, but it was against a weak opponent like LGD, who are kind of on their last leg. So good teething for OMG, but I need to see consistency before I'm like, yes, this team has it back together. They have a good read on 8.4, and they're ready to hit the ground running. Unfortunate, it's into the brick wall of RNG.
Yeah, and a win against RNG would be fantastic for OMG, but like you said, it is very difficult of a task for them to achieve. Whereas for the side of RNG, you can see some interesting faces starting for them today.
Some familiar faces,
Some familiar faces
say.
that people who have been following RNG for a couple of years might recognize. And let's take a look at their roster, because Tatai starting in the top lane with MLXG, Xiaohu into the mid lane, Uzi and Ming in the bottom lane.
He's back! Karsa has been putting on a clinic on RNG, and just watching Karsa and Uzi play together has been phenomenal, but I've been waiting for MLXG to come back. He gets his chance against OMG, and facing across from them is going to be Xiang, World 6, Icon, Chelly, and 5.
And yes, that's World 6 in the jungle this time with Chelly as an AD carry. They're not swapping them around anymore. We're not putting in different junglers here. And potentially, this could be the boost that OMG need to try and take down RNG, because we've already said that Karsa has been synergizing well with the team. You put MLXG back in, if that shakes up anything for RNG's roster, OMG could try and capitalize.
But let me ask you a question, Fish. What is MLXG really well known for doing in the jungle?
Being a jungler who doesn't have to do much.
No, he puts his face in things. He was known as the Battle Ward jungler when Mata was back on the team. He's a very forward, aggressive jungler, similar to Flawless, who we just saw. And guess what patch we're on? We're on 8.4, and it's all about the jungle mid duo. And we got the two brothers in arms, the original OG RNG jungle mid duo to do this.
I believe it was Y4 for RNG who was calling MXG the diet jungler, essentially. So hopefully OMG think that the diet jungler is going to show up today, and not the put your face in it jungler is going to show up for RNG heading into this matchup.
It's going to be MLXG or MLXD.
MLXD. Hopefully not. They're running Tatai in the top lane as well. So I have to see how he's going to be doing on this roster. Still swapping around their top lane as well as jungler from time to time. But since Uzi's come back, he's just been the staple AD carry for the team.
He has... I've seen every single one of Uzi's games. Like, that's the thing. Internationally, people see Uzi and be like, how can you not give this guy respect? He's incredible. Internationally, Uzi is incredible. Domestically, Uzi has been very inconsistent. And part of that is because he's played for so long. You know, when you have, 1,000+ games in the LPL, you're probably going to drop some of them. This split in 2018, Uzi is playing the best that he ever has. Better than on an international stage, much better than he ever has domestically. He is hands down the best AD carry of the league right now. It is so incredible to watch him reach this high.
He looked on form last year. He's looking incredibly good this year. And in fact, before we hand it over to our casters, 5 from OMG has something to say about the bottom lane.
接下来我们会在主场迎战 RNG。 然后 RNG 的下路的话，一直以来都是一个很强的点嘛。然后如果我们跟他们对线的话，我觉得我们下路应该就和平的发育吧，然后尽量别给他们找到机会。
It's going to take a lot for 5 to get a happy, calm farming lane against the best bottom lane 80 carry in all of China right now.
Yep.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Dom. We've got Raz here for this Game 2, OMG versus RNG. And the scary thing is, OMG, they're not just looking across from RNG and being like, oh no, this is a big team, we've got to be scared. They also have to be concerned about Rogue Warriors, because SMLZ in his previous game, previously of OMG fame, looks nigh unstoppable. That guy is terrifying. So not only is it this one monster they have to get through, but the next one just behind it, and then they have to go back into their own conference.
Yep. Bit of a rocky montage. I mean, OMG showcasing that they're learning, that the meta is gelling with them, with the Galio kind of preference that they've had, finally respecting the pick. But with them taking baby steps, Rogue Warriors are taking massive steps. So they need to be able to get ready as possible to showcase SMLZ that they got something.
That said, we are seeing a bit of a new roster out of RNG, new in the sense that it's about that 2.5-week old new. It's been about 17, 18 days since we've last seen MLXG play with the team, and now Zatai is also showing back up in the top lane to replace Let Me. So perhaps we could see some synergy, I guess, discontinuities?
Yes, it kind of dies out. And I think this is OMG's best chance, knowing that RNG's taking this set by saying, we'll give MLXG another chance, because Karsa's been playing so well for the team. He's been slow, methodical, and even though you just saw on your screen 5 talk about kind of taking a step back, Karsa really just takes a surgical knife to the enemy jungle. So now that we've got MLXG in there, OMG has a good enough chance of kind of pushing that pressure off of them. Because one of my biggest criticisms to MLXG is the fact that a lot of the times he actually puts his lanes in a bit of a deficit sometimes. He goes in quite frequently. His Camille picks, his Jax picks, he always wants to be in the face of the enemy jungler. Sometimes he makes mistakes and his lanes have to bail him out. That's what I want to watch out for in this series, because that's the best opportunity OMG has to be able to take those early game leads.
And of course, that all starts with the draft that we now enter here in this Game 1 between Royal Never Give Up and Oh My God. Will Uzi again be the bane to OMG, or will they be able to find safety and security in their own home arena?
Look at this. The Scion ban immediately. OMG has looked at the last series, recognizing Xiaohu took that victory off the Scion pick, and he's like, get these tank mid laners out of here. If I'm going to have any bit of focus towards the mid lane, if I want to have a kill in towards the mid lane, those solo kills coming through, I don't want any of these boring picks coming in.
The Hitman in the mid lane, Icon, one of the best mid laners in the league. He's been suffering a bit lately, still putting on good performances, but with his team taking losses, he can only do so much.
Yeah, exactly. And OMG have tried to put in all the focus of the early game towards the mid lane. Recently, they've kind of eased up on that by going towards the Galio and the Vladimir picks. That's interesting to me because that's a shift in style from them. But you might see them go back to it because Icon's been performing well even though the team has not. So maybe he still goes towards the Echo picks because they're on red side. He can hold to his pick to the final dime. So that might be the change-up OMG goes towards this time around.
That counter pick is so important for OMG. Of course, there's still so many members that they have to look at on the likes of RNG and worry about. That said, first pick now goes over to RNG now that the Tahm Kench has been taken away.
I'm going to call 5 out here. He said he wanted this to be a peaceful game, but I've just seen them strike out 2 denial picks. Galio denying aggression from the enemy team. Of course, if there's ever any skirmishing the bot side of the map, Galio's the first one to stop that, and the Tahm Kench as well, so it allows them to fight and skirmish a lot more often.
That said, as always with RNG, there is the vain hover from Uzi. The crowd goes wild, Uzi has a laugh, and then yawns in the middle of it. This is just another day in the office for him. But MLXG, the guy who sometimes overextends in the jungle and his team has to bail him out, he's on the likes of Sejuani. Perhaps this could be a champion that allows him to get away with these plays, as Varus is prioritized by Chelly.
Yeah, and they're just focusing down World 6 here. It's a strong strategy coming in from the coach, from RNG. Picks it up very well, Hart does, in the sense that you ban out 2 junglers, 2 very popular, strong junglers, one that's been working very well for World 6 in the past, Skarner that is. So no Skarner, no Olaf. He puts him on a very, I would say, out-of-meta Jarvan, just because Sejuani could do a pretty decent job at clearing out Raptors, while Jarvan kind of takes a slower pace in doing so.
Now we get to see how RNG respond. It's usually the mid-jungle matchup that is so important on this patch 8.4. Xiaohu on blue side, if it goes late enough, will have to pick that mid laner before OMG, assuming they hold it that long, but already we can see a very early Shen rotation from RNG.
Yeah, Shen is still a big question mark whether he's going towards the support position or the top lane. Now, Zatai favors the Shen, so I would be more inclined to say that this is a Shen top lane pick. But if you see a Gangplank coming out from Xiang, then of course Zatai would just say, you know what, you could take it towards the bottom lane. I want something better.
We'll see now how OMG respond. They have to respect that flex just as much as we do, as Icon matching the champion flare that Xiaohu just showed a few moments ago. Knows he's up into that rise. Could try to prioritize this mid lane here and just get it out of the way or save it to later.
Yeah, very valuable pick from Xiaohu, which means that Icon needs to pick up a mid laner for himself right now. Of course, the 2 mid lane picks being banned out. Yes, I'm counting Sion as a mid lane pick, means that RNG could just strike out these good lanes into Rise, which means OMG has to speed up the pace, say, okay, we'll pick up a mid laner ourselves so we don't get pinched out going into the second phase. Yeah,
we do still have a lot of roaming and mobility out of OMG with these 2 champions. Jarvan's still very quick to get around the jungle. Talia the same with that Weaver's Wall.
You just have to watch out, though, because if we're talking about being able to get across the map, Rise ulti and Shen ulti will do that so much better. So RNG's been thinking about being able to rotate as soon as possible. They're getting those picks off for themselves. So it's going to be on OMG to pick stronger lanes. Talia needs to keep Rise under tower, so when she gets her roam up, Rise is not going to be easily able to follow her.
Of course, we'll have to see how that mid lane goes out towards Icon and Xiaohu during the course of their trades. Gangplank will be banned away from Xiang. Huge ban priority against OMG. In nearly 40% of their games he's been taken away just because, you know, it's Xiang. He's such a legacy good player. And now they're also going to ban away the likes of this Gnar, so lots of focus on that top lane.
I wonder what Xiang's going to pick for himself, because it's OMG that have decided to ban out 2 top laners when the Shen's been picked up here. Now, sure, we're talking about Shen being put in towards the bottom lane, but especially when you see Gangplank get banned by RNG, which is a very good lane from Gangplank, that should kind of throw a few light bulbs up there that it's going to be a Shen top lane. So I want to see if OMG's Gambit really pays off here, and if it does turn into a Shen support, just because I'm not buying it personally.
Well, OMG can wait it out even longer, as they could look at the support for 5 to pair up with Chelly here and save it for just one more rotation. Of course, if that does go to support, that means Zatai will pick up something else, further limiting the pool of Xiang.
I really do love the Taric cover. Sure, it's the Thresh pick. It's 5's favorite champion. Thresh has done him so well in the past, which is great for skirmishing, but I liked the Taric cover just because we were talking about the Talia getting towards the bottom side of the map earlier if she can, and that really allows dives to come through much more easily. It's going to be a little bit harder with the Thresh.
That said, this is 5's first Thresh of 2018, so he will have to show some work here if he wants to catch out Uzi, who says, you've got a hook champion? Well, tell you what, I could just buffer out of it.
There we go. I mean, Ezreal, the most we've seen from Uzi picking up the Ezreal has literally just been in international competitions, goes towards it quite frequently there, not in domestic play. So now picking up the Ezreal, especially off of the nerf he's been getting, interesting to me. Really, a lot of focus now seems to be on the top side of the map.
Ooh, boy, Swain
okay.
Locked in for Zatai. Welcome to 8.4, everyone.
Happily, I will take that L. Because I was just legitimately believing the Shen was going to go topside. Even the GP getting banned out. I was like, no. OMG saw that from the beginning. So good on them. It pays off. And even better, Xiang picks up Renekton.
Ooh, all right. This is going to be an exciting top lane. Zatai taking Swain. 8.4, the first of the LPL, though we did see old Swain before he did get reworked. And Xiang echoing Marin's Renekton here.
Here's the thing. Here's the funny thing about this, because we have seen Swain in the LPL before, new Swain. It was picked up by Xiang, which is really funny because that was the pick that Xiang failed on. So now he's going across the lane with that Swain. So honestly, Xiang knows the matchup well enough to pick up the Renekton. Renekton getting picked up once before by Marin. So I wonder if it's going to be the Spellbook Renekton that we're close to seeing, which means he's allowed to take Ignite into the top lane, cuts down the sustain from Swain, and he can look to skirmish as much as possible.
It is going to be quite an exciting matchup on that top half of the map as RNG breaking out something new here on this patch 8.4 in OMG's home arena. They are the visitors in this match. And they're going to have to work to bring down OMG, who have just started to pick up some momentum with a 2-0 win over LGD.
Let me tell you something about that Chengdu arena. I was there a few weeks ago. It's a little bit chill, just a little bit.
Chill?
I was fine. I didn't need to bring a jacket just because, personally,
cool. You mean
living in Canada, I am fine with the cold weather. But the players on stage, if you're visiting, going to Chengdu for the first time RNGs, legitimately visiting there, much different climate from Shanghai to Chengdu, so they gotta settle down a little bit, keep the seats warm.
Well, we'll have to see if they've brought their seat warmers or if they're going to be chilled out by the likes of this arena, as OMG are now going to try to take this game off of RNG, look for their second win in their arena, or if RNG will answer back and continue their rise back towards the top of the rankings. Ever since the return of Uzi after the Chinese New Year, they have received an injection of morale that has left them sprinting towards the top.
Oh my God, look at that capacity crowd. Are you kidding me?
That is a lot of people. That said, we've loaded onto the Rift for game number 1 between RNG and Oh My God. Usually it's just 3. That guy is still going.
Yeah, they're not going to stop until someone tells them to stop.
Absolutely.
No matter how poorly OMG has been playing throughout this split, that crowd is still flatly behind them, which is surprising to me. I remember when I came in the grand opening, saw them going up against Suning. Sure, Suning didn't have much of a fan base, but it was still enough. It was still enough for the crowd to still go massively in favor of OMG, so it was still a big, I'd say, big boost to them.
Yeah, I mean, the morale of having the arena behind you, we've seen what it does for the likes of Snake, who are now the 3rd best team in the league right now. But that said, OMG making their way onto the Rift. You can see standard defensive line, both junglers starting off on that bottom half of the map. Glacial Augment out of the likes of this Swain and a Dark Seal.
There are 3 things to come to mind. You're right. Glacial Augment on the Swain is interesting. He has the range advantage, so he can get the slow off easier to disengage and easier to essentially pull in the Renekton if he's having a proper trade and just kind of whittle him down. That's interesting. But there are 2 other points, of course. Xiang picking up Press the Attack, so it's not going to be the spellbook, which means he is tied down to the TP. Press the Attack did get a nerf, so it's 4% on the buff immediately, and it scales upwards. But that just means that his early skirmishing not going to be that good, in my opinion. Another one, of course, is Lethal Tempo Sejuani, which, if he sees another champion, great. But that means he's not going to have the sustain of Fleet Footwork in the jungle, and he's not going to have the raw tankiness from having the resolve tree for himself in the primary. So I am questioning that. He's going to be okay in being able to get his 4 proc passive and stun for sure. Like, if he's going skirmishing, that's great.
World 6 has found Xiaohu. Red buff with the slow. Level 3 ticked up for both. He's able to get away and splashes over the wall, plus red buff burning away. Xiaohu escapes, but steps forward. Icon, the hitman, gives up first blood, and RNG start off game 1 with a double kill.
Oh my God, 2 kills over to the Sejuani this early into the game. That's a tilter.
Oh, wow. Shadow Dash tags on the 5, but he's able to buffer his Flay and push Ming and Uzi back already. This day has been so chock full of action.
Legitimately, both of these teams just going for it. Even 5 throwing in a predictive hook, finding air. But looking at this gank should have went off without a hitch. World 6 does not use his EQ combination just because he wants to wait for Xiaohu to flash first. Gets it late. So that's a mechanical error. Xiaohu survives, and this is when you just see OMG, both of them as a squad, just going all in for the kill no matter what. And we've seen this from them in the past when it was Jekko on the Sejuani, or Jekko on the Zac trying for dives that just don't work. Just back up if it doesn't work.
And you've already talked about these junglers changing and how that makes it so difficult to build up synergy with the team. Already it seems like World 6, this is now his 3rd game in a row playing with OMG, is almost desperate to force that synergy by looking for a gank top. That said, MLXG showing that he's already got what OMG do not, by roaming top to protect Zatai.
So let's get a little bit closer into this one, because he gets the 2 kills early on. He still has the attack speed for himself to kind of clear out the camp fast, so that's still the benefit of going into the precision tree primary. That's good. The lethal tempo, we kind of saw it earlier on in that skirmish, is that he was able to get the passive so much procced earlier on, which is the main bulk of the damage from Sejuani. So it's a bit of a battle Sejuani. Get the auto attack off, get the 3 more autos, or at least second, you use your W, get 2 stacks off that, 2 autos, boom. You get the skirmish for herself. So that's nice coming out of Sejuani. Personally, I think it's a bit troll.
It could just be MLXG wanting to show off against OMG here, because already things are looking great. Double kill for the team, 1,400 gold. And CS advantage just about everywhere except for in that top lane.
Yeah, so now that he's built himself up Red Smite, and definitely after getting that big of a lead, he's going to try and find Jarvan as much as possible. And it's going to tilt the top side matchup. Xiang's getting good push up top side, but it's not going to be that for so long if he finds himself top lane, upsetting the matchup and getting Zatai ahead.
Already you can see OMG setting up some vision up there, control ward and another just past that tri-bush to keep an eye on all avenues of approach for that potential Sejuani to upset that matchup in Zatai's favor. That said, both junglers now find themselves on the bottom half of the map. Knowing that that first dragon is infernal, could be more onus on these teams to try to control vision down there.
It's just a little hard for MLXG to get a proper gank towards the bottom side of the map. Thresh creates an aura of protection for Chelly. Chelly, he's not level 6 yet, so he doesn't have the ability to just get the stun off and run, so it's going to be solely on Thresh. If you go for a gank at the bottom lane, it needs to be Shen getting a taunt flash onto Thresh to make it successful.
Not seeing that just yet, though. RNG are pushing into this bottom lane. Already a 12 CS advantage for Uzi, as Xiang, with level 6, trades back against Zatai, who's healing up, though we do see World 6 is up there. That's Demonic Ascension. Xiang kiting it back out. Level 5, he flashes. Could be looking for some more damage, just drops it back.
It's very upsetting for Xiang because,
the
wait
never
a second.
move and into the Visions of Empire. Still, we see Zatai trading favorably. The Dominus is about to wear off. Even though World 6 and Icon are there.
That extra chunk creates so much safety for Zatai. Honestly, OMG, both World 6 and Icon were looking for a play on the top side of the map, but Xiang was chunked so heavily that it just wasn't going to look good. Just because Xiaohu had TP as well, so Xiaohu immediately could have been able to impact that fight.
And already we're seeing the raw mechanical power of the players of OMG. Still, CS disadvantage for Zatai when the trade is all said and done, but he should feel at least a little bit more safe now that he knows that flash from Renekton has been burnt.
Yeah, here's what's upsetting for Xiang, because I kind of alluded to that a little bit. He had such strong vision control topside, control ward to be able to catch a river gank, and a ward in his own bush to catch them trying to go through tri-bush. So he felt so safe in that scenario, which is why he dashed forward. But that was the time that Sejuani had chosen to go for the gank. I think in his own mind, he felt like he was safe. He should have had a better read of the map because Sejuani, if she ganks bottom lane, that's a surprise to me already. And Xiaohu was pushed so heavily in towards mid lane that gank was not going to happen. There was just so much more setup in the top side of the map, so he should have been at the very least more aware and had World 6 path towards his direction.
Zatai now walks in. Just eats some damage from Xiang, who's kiting around as best as he can. Still, though, we saw some of the stats for Uzi down in that bottom lane, one of the best mid laners in the league, if not the world. But Xiaohu is turning his attention towards the top half. Remember, that lack of a flash. He just saw the slice and the dice. Xiaohu walks up, snare locks him into the wall, but Zatai pulls him back with the never move. Almost perma-snared there. That's the slice.
Oh my
God. The dice to go back in. He looks for Xiaohu, but Xiaohu, he's got his flash. Can he escape? MLXG keeping World 6 from engaging. Flash, Cataclysm, but Xiaohu is out of there. Zatai will be the one who goes down, and MLXG follows up with 1. There's no flash for Icon. What could be 2, and it is red buff burning and ticking down, but MLXG is going to finish it off. Pinned against the wall, 4-0 MLXG.
4 kills in 8 minutes. That is the fattest pig I've ever seen in my life. That was such good timing from MLXG to come to the top side of the map at the same time as World 6. He was just following Xiaohu's footsteps as he went towards the top lane early on. You mentioned it. Flash down on Renekton, try and bully him out. So that play went through, and MLXG followed up. So immediately, I would say, first play to back him up and get the kill, even though it took a very long time. And of course, the insurance policy of Sejuani to make sure the gank goes out without a hitch. So this is great. But here's the problem in this entire thing. Stun, but he gets pulled by Zatai, which means that Xiaohu couldn't get the Q off. The empowered Q to get the kill onto Xiang, so that's why it took a lot longer than you would have expected. MLXG catches World 6 just so it wouldn't go through. I think World 6 didn't think he had enough distance to catch the much lower HP target, so he went for what he thought was an easier one. Flash comes through and denies it.
Still, though, when it's all said and done, MLXG shows up and finishes off the remainder of these kills. And so often we're talking about how Karsa enables Uzi, enables Xiaohu, enables the solo lanes for OMG. MLXG, at this point, it seems like he's just preying on his lanes already, being successful.
He's just a skirmisher. He's a fighter. Even though I kind of gave a warning tale of him kind of messing up his own lanes just because of how skirmishy he is. No, it works very well if he can get the kills. So
at least in this game.
Yeah, very well. So one thing I would say, now that he is the richest Sejuani I've ever seen, if he goes to Warmogs, probably don't finish the Warmogs before level 9 just because you won't have enough base HP to get the Warmogs passive being effective. That's the only thing I got for you. That's the only thing. He's so rich, just to worry about that.
Oh, and they found another pick. Icon, the hitman in the mid lane, steps up and gets punished. Even the etc. True Shot Barrage, accessory even. Not necessary, but perhaps it made Uzi just feel good, as now mid-tier 1 being bullied down by RNG and the Realm Warp.
Really?
They're going to go right on top. They've got the minions there diving a tier 2. Remember, there's no flash from World 6, and while Cataclysm will pen MLXG in, he just walks away.
This is disgusting. I thought they should just... Oh, wait a minute. I was so certain they were just going to take mid lane turret. That Taliyah was going to take a long time to get there, so maybe get at least 70% of HP. But they're just going for kills now.
I got to ask you, Raz, did Uzi just stand still and then casually sidestep?
I'm just, I plead the fifth.
Okay.
Look at it.
RNG are flexing here against the likes of OMG. We talk so much about how morale is so vital in the LPL. OMG finally get a chance to take a series win over LGD just a few days ago, but at this rate, that morale is just being absolutely shattered by one of the best teams in the LPL.
You're not basing, Uzi.
I think he knows.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah. He was still window shopping. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Still, this is a difficult hole to dig themselves out of. Icon, he's got his Weaver's Wall. He's paired up now with World 6. That's 4 members bottom. Chains of Corruption lands in. What a block! Ming, the god, saves his AD carry by going in. That means Icon is still up, though. Uzi with the flash, tries to walk it forward. Ming goes low and will sacrifice his life, but everybody joins in. Zatai follows up along with Xiaohu and MLXG, and OMG are made to pay. You take down one of mine, I take down all of yours. As MLXG, again, is just going to chase Icon across the ends of the earth. Oh, the flail actually missed there. Ooh, looking for just a little bit more range. Icon is still trying to get out of here. That's going to be the slow and an auto attack.
One slow. Oh, his Q's going to come
Just
up.
takes one. Look at the dive bottom, though. This is the most intense sidestepping we've ever seen. They are 2 turrets deep on the other side of the map, Raz.
But the one savior of this entire skirmish is the Secret Service member, Ming.
Absolutely. I will save you, Mr. President. Holy cow.
Not only did he block the ulti from Chelly, but he also blocked the Q damage from Taliyah. Uzi was so well protected there. Sure, Ming died, but he was able to dish out the damage in the preceding team fight. So, my goodness, Ming, you get a Purple Heart.
Absolutely. Somebody give this man a gold star. Still, though, we are seeing a huge advantage. Nearly 5,000 gold, 13 minutes in. What a block!
Get to that one. That's not even the best one, because here comes Taliyah coming in for the flank, and nah, you're not. It's not happening. It's not happening at all.
Man, Icon is even forced to use the Rupture to try to get Ming off of him.
And this is just when it gets bad for Morse. OMG needs to get out of immediately, because not only was their major point of offensive and the flank was completely denied, 5 was just dead, because he didn't have the HP to support the next play. I guess we're getting fast forward
so
because
this is the dive that we're looking at. Again, the Realm Warp with minions to dive a tier 2. They still managed to tag onto Chelly. I just realized that Rise and Swain is actually a really scary combination. Point and click snare followed up by a targeted snare.
Yep, they're so rich at this point, and they have so many points of CC that they can dive turrets endlessly. Not only does the Rod of Ages give you that extra HP to have the confidence in doing so, but Sejuani has the HP boosted in this game so that wherever the plays go, wherever she goes, towers are essentially kind of just things you can just ignore.
At this point, 35 jungle creeps ahead of World 6, now down to 30 now that Rift Herald has been picked up. But RNG are just sprinting past OMG as Uzi is set to break down first brick. Ming even steps forward. Is he going to give over solo gold? He does. Everything is going right for RNG.
So this is where it gets rough for OMG because they need to take a step back.
Oh, this is where it gets rough. Okay.
Yes. Because funny enough, yes it is. Because they do need to take a step back and figure out what their next plan of action because they're getting shut out in so many avenues. Mid lane, essentially, they should call it off just because it's incredibly low with how much they chipped it out earlier on and with such a good dive composition that they have with the Shen, Sejuani, that they don't want to get caught underneath that tower. They need to start thinking about the next dragon. If it turns into a double Infernal, you need to look to contest that one. Or the Baron that comes up in 6 minutes. They need to think so much farther ahead just because these team fights, they're not going to win.
Oh, they certainly are not, as Xiaohu, even with just the minion wave, finishes off the mid-tier 1. Infernal Dragon picked up by RNG, and still Zatai is starting to push Xiang in despite being down a level. It's a 30 CS difference, but a lot of good that 30 CS is going to do when it's 2-1-2 on that swing to the 0-1-0 of Xiang.
Yeah, Xiang's just been chained to his lane, not able to move very well. At the same time, the laning phase hasn't been going well just because of how active RNG were in stopping him, stunting his growth. So very upsetting for him and how much he's able to get done.
Oh, they're looking for Xiaohu here. MLXG is there, but he gets the bola onto the likes of 5. He has to retreat. World 6 drops the Cataclysm, and the Realm Warp, oh, they're penned in. They chase it forward. Visions of War for additional damage. Every play OMG try is getting turned on its head.
OMG's desperate. You can see the frustration growing. They try to go for a play, and MLXG just reads them like a book. He's in the area because he was clearing Wolf Camp, and he's just like, well, wait a minute. I have my ulti. I have lethal tempo. I'm going to murder them. So really well done from RNG as a whole to cut out that play.
And now 16 minutes in, we are seeing a massive gold advantage for RNG. Nearly 8,000 gold. This is huge. Already, Ming is being brought up with Uzi towards that top tier 1. You can see Xiang's trying to defend it. Even Icon is on this side of the map. Weaver's Wall is ready. There's actually 4 members of OMG up there. 5, actually.
What's interesting is that while RNG is setting up top, okay.
They finally found a pick onto Xiaohu. He will die. Stand United is not enough to save him, and they're racing top.
This is what I was getting worried about with RNG. They're getting caught with their pants down. Setting up vision control on the bottom side of the map. You can see the control ward being placed just on the bottom side of mid lane. Why are they doing that when Uzi is trying to take the top lane tower? It's a bit of a slip up. Sure, Swain's on the bottom side, but he's safe. If there are 2 people taking him down, then that should be the go sign on the top side.
Mid-tier 1 is taken by OMG as a result of that pick. Rift Herald is used as well. Still, OMG, they're moving as a collective 4-man unit. Might be looking for Uzi. Can he outplay Escape this one? Arcane Shift over the wall. Even clears the Blast Cone.
Yeah, he should be fine. And
teleport.
honestly,
Double teleport coming in from behind. It's going to be both Xiaohu and Zatai. OMG still moving as a unit, but they could be in trouble. Chelly flashes the wall. They've targeted Icon, but he might be able to escape as well as Chelly. Look at the damage. Xiaohu demolishes him.
Yep. He's dead.
And another Realm Warp to chase. Weaver's Wall gets them in, but there's a lot of CC, a lot of chaos, and 5 members of OMG are suddenly 2 turrets deep, hunting down these kills. Has anyone died? Ming is going to be the sole consolation. Raz, this is brutal.
It's brutal, it's fast, and RNG has made their intent known. They're just looking for kills. There is no other objective they can look for. Top lane's a far walk. Maybe they can just get that 1 tower, but they're not really getting anything from just the cold because it's that early in the game.
This is absolutely savage. OMG now going to finish off that top tier 1 as they just control the entire map. Wards on wards on wards. And while OMG are picking up consolation prizes, it's nearly nothing.
Yes, and look how disheartening this is. Chelly is completely cut out because this was OMG looking for another play after the first kill that they achieved in the mid lane. But the moment Rise comes back to life, he TPs with Zatai, bursts down the Varus, and they try to dive this turret. So the turret means nothing to them just because they are constantly not in fear with MLXG taking the forefront of the damage.
Absolutely huge plays. RNG, if this were a game show, they just want a new car. OMG in second place, they just want a book. This is not a great setup for OMG. Still, though, they are trying. They are hunting for kills, and they did successfully get a kill onto Xiaohu, at least resetting some of that gold. but it is so difficult. The Oblivion Orb, second on Xiaohu after his completed Seraph's Embrace. I think that might explain why he was doing so much burst damage with just a single rotation of spells and only 2 items.
Yeah, you only see that, of course, recently on the Rise pick because he just bullets out abilities. So the abilities of your own champions, yourself, the enemy, especially with how often skirmishes are happening, he just gets out so much burst damage. So Chelly, you better watch your head. Because if you're ever in range of Rise, you're not living to... He's dead. That's it. Legitimately it. Don't make it special. That's it.
Blue buff being picked up by Xiaohu, again stolen away from OMG. They look to be at a complete loss as Icon tries to outplay. He's trying to use that fancy footwork, but nothing is going to save you.
Just snipes him. Just that easy.
All right. Okay.
Like, what do you even have to say of this game? Because
exactly.
What I love about just go get in a little bit deeper with how hectic this is. MLXG is going faster and faster and moving on plays whenever his ulti is up. Even if it isn't, he's confident enough to have his team rotate with them. With how far of a lead he had early on, it just makes the Sejuani so much more effective just because if you're a tank, you have a lead, that means every tower is diveable.
Oh, yeah. At this point, with everyone getting on the back of MLXG, they must be hearing in their heads, thank you for flying MLXG Airlines. This 707 is fully equipped to dive any turrets you so desire. 7-0 and 7 in kills. He is just going all over the map to pick people off. OMG, they're huddling under their turrets in fear, just waiting for RNG to finish this off. That said, the mid-game macro decision-making for RNG has been one of their biggest weaknesses in the past. We're at the mid-game, but OMG are in no position to try to punish or take advantage of that potential weakness.
Yeah, it may be a weakness in terms of being able to face the best teams of the league.
Oh,
Even OMG have been having massive problems in just that. So this was, I wouldn't say a pipe dream, but it was definitely OMG wanting to overperform this day to be able to take the victory or at least challenge that said weakness. It's not been happening, and even the early weakness of the power spike of RNG, speaking specifically of Uzi on the Ezreal, he doesn't have that anymore. Has 2 items underneath him, has the fully equipped Muramana and Trinity Force going towards the Blade of the Rune King. Once he has that, he's fully spiked and he wants to be able to fight. But before that, he had the tier going up against the 2-item Varus. That's supposed to be the strongest point of Varus. But that early to mid-game strength that we're looking at with the Talia and Varus completely overshadowed.
Absolutely washed over by this ocean of RNG. That's a shadow dash into 3 people. The only person who could have helped there was Uzi. MLXG was a full screen's length away, and still Ming is single-handedly out-pressuring OMG in their own house, in their own jungle. Baron is back up, and OMG, they've set themselves up a death brush. This could be an opportunity where they bait RNG into making a mistake.
This is when you may say that, and that's true, but it's mostly RNG looking to bait in OMG at this point in time. Baron is a primary focus now that it's gotten past that 20-minute timeline. So they have enough tanks to actually just go through Baron. They have 2 tanks for themselves, and the consistent damage is swing.
Xiaohu going for the 1v2. He's got Realm Orb. Zanya's is not going to need to be used as he just walks it out, and it is still within range. He doesn't use it to escape. He uses it to reposition so he can keep on trading 1 versus 2, and he bullies them both back.
If they stayed a little longer, they would have gotten deleted. 100 fully stacked on that Oblivion Orb means that he could look to take the kill.
He's still looking for it now, and look at the damage! Flash, Spell Flux, nearly single-handedly killing the likes of Icon.
And it gets used then. That's the amount of burst that you face when you go up against Rise with that item.
The Machine Gun Mage stacks it up so quickly, the damage. RNG, now they're pushing both top, mid, and bottom as Xiaohu is going to finally break open this defense from OMG. They're huddling under the inhibitor. World 6 is sitting on the fountain.
What can you do at this point? Just look at Rise just stacking up his next Oblivion Orb. Damage, of course, extra 100 damage to your combo. Feels kind of good.
And still, they're turning now onto the inhibitor turret. OMG are so defensive. They are all the way back at the Nexus now, seeding this inhibitor.
Can't contest them. Not even going to utilize the TP play Renekton has available to him, because that would just be a sentence in death. Look how tanky MLXG is at this point in time.
He's very big. That is a Randuin's and the Adaptive Helm. He is indeed very big. And now they're setting up the pick, and now they've caught World 6. Caught in the jaws of their own trap. OMG fall prey. Ming flashes away, denying even that kill. And MLXG, like you said, he is massive. Zatai gets pulled in, and he is so thrilled with it. Uzi steps forward. Icon goes low. Xiong on the side as 5 dives in to try to get some CC. He's looking for Ming, but he will finally be able to get it at the cost of his own life. Realm Warp to hunt down Chelly. Raz, this game is over.
You just can't run. Xiaohu had you at the flank as well with the flank TP, so it just feels like every inch that OMG feels like they have, you don't have it. It's not available to you.
For every inch they have, RNG just take it back. They take back a mile in trade, even attacking onto the fountain to deny any further follow-up as OMG fans' hearts are broken by a smashing Game 1 win.
It started at the pick ban when, of course, the Jarvan was picked out. When he was forced to pick the Jarvan with the jungle ban, Sejuani, all that nonsense. It got worse when the Sejuani got 2 kills in the mid lane, which seems to be a constant with OMG and how their 2v2s end up working in that area. It's not been the strongest point for them. In fact, it's been a major weakness. They try and treat it as a strength to themselves. They try and utilize Icon's early game strength, but it always just fumbles, which is why they kind of cycle through these junglers. Just feels bad for OMG. They might even cycle out World 6 once again.
They just might have to after that Game 1, just to bring in a new player with a fresh morale mindset into this game too, because like you said, that was absolutely brutal from RNG. It seemed like everywhere they tried for something, RNG would happily just give up. Oh, you've killed Xiaohu? Great, we'll take a turret and we'll trade back on the other side of the map. Zatai is split pushing, you're going to 5-man invest dive on him. Well, let's turn that dive around and pick up kills of our own.
And that's how snowbally the composition RNG had. The Ryze ultimate, the Shen ultimate, of course, and the TP from the top lane. Zatai was always there as well. Means that any mistake that you have, even if you're trying to take an opportunity and to try and get a pick off of RNG, they just answer back.
Yeah.
As long as Shen is there, and even if you kill out Xiaohu, he's going to be able to respond himself. And so that was a constant here where OMG, they had a little bit of an opening a few times.
Yeah.
But it just gets completely erased.
Absolutely. I mean, so many times we talk about OMG hunting for opportunities and trying to utilize them, but RNG, they just said no. And it happened to work out for them. Still, though, we've got a lot of stuff to talk about and to break down here. I think our analysts are now ready to break down that series.
I'm not ready.
I don't think anyone's ready after that, but we certainly do have some things to break down, and it's going to kickstart from Champions side, because I don't think OMG quite understood that they were patch 8.4 there, Frosco. We had a Jarvan, we had a Thresh, we had a Renekton.
There was a lot of weird stuff. Like, I'm not gonna go too hard on the Renekton. We've seen Swain and Renekton appearing globally a little bit. It's not obviously like a core meta pick, but it just feels like OMG don't have the memo, that they don't understand what they're supposed to play, how the compositions really work. Even when you look at those champions individually and you say, okay, there's some strong, lane priorities separated for each person, like individually they have some decent matchups somewhere. When they come together, like, how is that comp really supposed to excel and work when you have other options available? And then you look across at the other side and the amount of power picks that RNG got. Sejuani Ryze. Every team in the LPL, if they don't know this, like, pro tip, do not give them Sejuani Ryze. That is a staple shell that RNG loved to run. You basically saw exactly why, because that was a 20k gold lead at 25 minutes. That is absurd. And Xiaohu is probably the best Ryze in the LPL. So next.
Yeah, 177,000 damage done in that match alone. We're gonna go deeper on the Sejuani Ryze in just a second. But before we went into game 1, you said there were 4 steps to beating RNG. What were those 4 steps for us?
Survive the bot lane. So you need to make sure that you have a priority pick on your bot lane, that either you can match the wave clear or you can stay safe enough to stay away from it. Just survive, Uzi. Next, mid priority. So we got like 1.5 because Icon has the Talia. He had access to the Orianna or the Cassiopeia, which we've seen kind of more favorable matchups into the Ryze, but Talia's okay. She can match the push, she can match the roam. The problem is that when they got that mid lane priority, everything went wrong.
It certainly did. And before we go further into the mid lane priority, what does MLXG like to do in the jungle?
Sticks his face in it.
Well, when you unlock mid lane and you have a Ryze and Realm walking into the back lines, this happens.
Yeah, so originally this started out, we're like, we need an MLXG B-roll because this guy is popping off. And then slowly but surely our producer's like, we're just going to get you some Realm Warps because there are some sick Ryze plays happening. And that's pretty much what it was. Again, this is a very standard shell from RNG. They are a 1-3-1 type of team, so Ryze, of course, fits into their wheelhouse because of how well he can play a side lane with his ultimate. And then when you put Sejuani with it, yes, this play doesn't necessarily showcase the Sejuani, but the next plays will. You Realm Warp that Sejuani directly into the backline, and you force these fights and start snowballing this gold lead. At 20 minutes in this game, RNG had 19 kills. Like, there's 3 minutes on the map where nothing is happening.
3 minutes, that's
they
all
had
they
a 3
had.
minute head start.
Oh no. The start of this match as well didn't go well for OMG. They tried to go for a gank in mid lane. Guess what? Sejuani and Ryze were there too. And it's just highlight after highlight after highlight of this happening over and over and over again.
Yeah, and Xiaohu is just insane. And it's not just his team fight or his ability to find picks on Ryze with the Realm Warps. It's also he's the best at the FedEx drop. The beam me up Scotty, where he picks up the minion wave and then he rotates it over into another tower. A lot of Ryzes, especially in the LPL, really misuse that ability or mess it up, miss some key crucial creeps. And it's why RNG are also so punishing once they have a Baron, because they have mastered that trick to amass a huge wave on one side lane and then pop, drop it right into the mid lane.
And on top of that, he was able to pick up MVP, MLXG, on the Sejuani. Not Xiaohu. MLXG.
I guess it was a coin flip. MLXG is back. He
played well.
Yeah, exactly. He hasn't seen a couple of series. He played out of his mind well. He was there to make sure that Xiaohu could survive that initial 2v2 in the mid lane that led to that massive snowball. So props to him, but OMG, I mean, this has been an RNG blueprint for a long time. It wasn't like some secret picks came out. It wasn't like the Swain was the hinge there that this composition really snowballed on.
Well, hopefully he'll be able to get some hot pot tonight because he played really well. He still has a series to go against OMG. In that match, we kind of saw why patch 8.4 is all about mid lane jungle synergy. Yes, we could talk about the Realm Warps as well as the Sejuani all the time, but OMG just quite didn't have that. They had the early gank down, didn't work out for them, set them behind, and then we didn't see any more synergy between World 6 and Icon.
And it's why Talia is a strong champion on 8.4, because she has push priority against a lot of champions. She can follow the jungle, does decent damage. Yes, she's going to, not scale as well into late game, but she also has great Baron control, and Baron has also been buffed up because of how she can use her wall and close off around the Baron. So I don't necessarily blame Icon. I actually feel like he is legitimately locked in ELO hell with this team right now. Ooh. Icon is trying to drag OMG's corpse over the finish line for like the last 4 series, and someone needs to throw him a bone.
Well, with that, OMG not able to pick up game number 1, goes over to RNG in quite a decisive fashion. Well, we'll find out in game 2 if Icon can drag his team out of ELO hell.